All right, welcome into the prologue, you guys. I just was saying before I hit record that my video is a little bit delayed, and I think I have discovered that it has something to do with the internet at this house. So we got 2 more weeks here, and hopefully on the replay it's a little bit better, but I'm trusting that you guys can all hear me okay. If you can't watch because it's too delayed, like me, I put a thing in front of my videos, so like I'm looking at my notes and not at me being delayed. Anyway, either way, I hope you can hear me and all is good. So, welcome in. We're doing things differently this time for the challenge and for a really good reason because money moves isn't just about money. Okay, so what's that quote by Einstein? You know the one. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Okay, so making money moves. If we're just making moves, right? We're just doing the things, checking the boxes, staying consistent. What's that? What's that quote again? That is the definition of insanity. Okay. Money moves is about being the woman that makes moves that require something so much bigger than logic. They require an unshakable identity of conviction, certainty, and faith, because that is the frequency of money, of wealth, of abundance. Conviction, certainty, and faith. However, doing more, like I just said, is not the answer. Changing who you believe you are and doing the things differently is, right? Being brave and making moves while your entire body is screaming, wanting to run back to safety is not a vibe if you're not prepared, right? But this is what we're talking about today, and this is what the expand tapping method can help you with. This is a tool I've created for this specifically. It has been called manifestation meets EFT tapping for this reason, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, so conviction, certainty, and faith require something very, very important. Does anyone know what it is? You want to let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Okay. Before we continue on, by the way, I want you guys to say hi, and I want you to let us know where you're listening from. Okay. So most of you, maybe some of you know each other. Maybe some of you have seen each other on calls. Maybe some of you are in Manifest or Becoming the Conduit and beyond. Where are you tuning in from? Let us know. Okay. And what do conviction, certainty, and faith all require? Does anyone want to guess? There's no like, you can't fuck this up, really. Florida, southeast corner of BC in the mountains. Fernie, at work. Okay, bravery. All right, conviction, certainty, and faith. That's definitely a component of the three, right? We need to be brave. Belief. Uh-huh. Belief in what? See where I'm going now? Yes. Okay, yourself. Yes, for sure. Yes, you need to have bravery, or I mean, belief in yourself. Yes. However, you also need to have direction. You need to have direction. You can't be convicted, certain, and in faith if you don't know where you're going. Like you can. 11:11, guys. Yes, you must know where you're going. You must know where you're going. Okay. So, if you have never been on one of my live events before, but I feel like most of you have, I want you to be in the conversation with me as we go through this. I want you to be in on it. If there's something you want me to go deeper into, if there's something that lands, like let me know in the chat. Okay. So, conviction, certainty, and faith require direction. If you do not know where you're going, how do you feel? We all experience this pretty much daily because we are always presented with opportunities to make decisions every single day, multiple times a day. And if we are not a good decision maker, how do we feel when we are not making decisions? If we do not know where we're going? Even just yesterday when I was like, do I rent this place for the month of June or do I rent this place for the month of June? I felt scattered. I felt overwhelmed. I felt unsure. I felt foggy. I was like, and then what comes next after that? It's just this feeling of a little bit like insanity, a little bit just like chaos, right? But once you make the decision, what happens? It all clears up. I made the decision. How do I feel now? I feel good. I feel solid, right? So maybe another feeling that we feel when we avoid making a decision or we don't know where we're going is bored, like we're waiting. Maybe you feel impatient. For me, that used to be my story. I even asked one of my coaches a while ago now, how do I go faster? I want to go faster. I want to move faster. And she was like, slow down. I was like, no, that's not the answer. Right. But maybe it was at the time. So all of these feelings that we're feeling if we don't know where we're going and we're not making a decision because we don't believe we're there yet or it's possible or like we don't have the resources or the money's not here yet, that's the signal we're sending out into the field. And that's exactly why it feels like nothing's happening or everything's happening to me and it's so chaotic and heavy and overwhelming. You must have direction. So some people call this direction a goal. I call it a destination or a North Star. So I see many women avoiding making a decision for two reasons. One, they don't believe they have the resources they need, right? The money's not here yet. I don't know enough yet. I'm not good enough yet. I don't have all the answers. I don't know how. Is anyone resonating with this? Like, have you said those things before when it goes to making a decision and deciding where am I going? Like, what do I want my life to look like? Have you stopped yourself in the pursuit of that dream? And have you been postponing that dream or that destination? I know all of us have at one point, right? Okay, but those of you that have been through Manifest or are going through Manifest, you know otherwise. You no longer postpone. So the second reason I see women avoid making decisions is that they're afraid. They're afraid that they might fuck it up. They're afraid that they might make the wrong decision. They're afraid that, what is somebody else going to say? What if I fail? What if I let my family down? What if the money doesn't come? What if someone calls me out and I'm shown as a failure or a fraud? Okay, have you ever felt those? I think we all have, right? I'm gonna be afraid. I'm afraid to make a decision, right? So for example, I shared this yesterday inside the laws. I was like, I realized there was still part of me that was afraid that the money won't come because I'm making money moves that require money. And my logical mind can't wrap its head around it because I don't know where the money's going to come from. And being an entrepreneur, this is part of the fucking ride. This is part of the ride because we get to, I mean, this is another conversation, although it really is in alignment with what we're talking about today. We are the source of our wealth and riches. And some of you have heard me say this already, right? We are the source, not my business, right? Not my company or not your job. We are. It's a reflection of me. So then it's an opportunity for me to actually look at me. Do I believe in me? This comes back to the law of compensation, right? The law of compensation states that we will be paid in direct proportion to what? Basically, to our belief in ourselves, how good we are at it, our ability to be replaced, right? But we get to choose those things. We get to be better at what we're doing. We get to believe and have faith in the unseen. I get to believe in myself and believe that I can co-create the thing, the offer, the experience, the transformation that will serve many, many people. And in turn, I will be compensated. The money will come through me. Beautiful, right? So the truth is this, you can't fuck it up if you tried because it's all a setup, right? You're the center of your universe. Every signal that you send out will come back to you by universal law. By universal law, it will come back to you. So I want you guys to right now take a look at your current results. Okay, just look around. You can look around at your life, look around at where you're living, where you're working, where you're staying, the vehicle you're driving, the money that's in your bank, even like the social media following, the numbers on your email list, like your situation. Look at your current results right now. The relationships that you're in, the relationships you have, the friendships you have. A younger version of you used to dream of parts of this life, right? That you now live. You created these results, the money in your bank, the people in your life, the job you have, whatever, all of it. You asked for all of it and you got it. And you got it. It was a vibrational, you were a vibrational alignment. You were in vibrational alignment with it at one point. But now you're all here because you're ready for more, right? You're all here. That title or whatever drew you here, money moves. Money moves. That's interesting. I crave something new. I crave more freedom. I crave more space. I crave more abundance. I crave more money. I crave more peace, bliss, passion, purpose. Let me know in the chat if that's you. If you're like, yes, I'm not just talking to myself, right? I crave these things. I want these things for me. And I want them for my family. I want to live a life of abundance. I want to live a life of impact. That is all of us here, right? I'm here to do things differently. I'm here to break out of the patterns that I have been existing in. I want to break out of the cycles of potential lack or and limitation that I've been raised in. I want to break out of poverty for some of us, right? I came from poverty. So these are all real things that, and they're opportunities. Whatever you desire is available to you, and it's available to you now. And so if we take a look back through time now for a second, and we can also see how it all worked out and it all got us to where we are today. Like something happened every single time. It all worked out in the perfect timing. You couldn't have planned this out or figured it out if you tried, right? Parts of you, parts of the life that you're living now, you did have, in your mind or on a vision board or those sorts of things, but you couldn't have figured it out. You wouldn't have known that your life would be as it is right now, right? Parts of it. So I want you to remember that because this is the truth about decision making. You get to choose what happens next, and it's all going to unfold perfectly for you in your favor every single time. You're the center of your universe. And for some people, that's a big stretch to try to wrap your head around. But I want you to be open, right? Are you open to seeing that and seeing how you are co-creating a reality? And you actually get to choose where you're going. Okay. So, do you know where you're going? I know that Natalie's going to say yes. Kelty's going to say yes. Nicole's going to say yes, right? Shayla's going to say yes. Is Lisa going to say yes? Everyone else on the replay, do you know where you're going? Right? So I'm going to just teach you really quick here how to make a decision. Okay. If you're inside, like I said, manifest or becoming the conduit, you've done this, but let's do it anyway. Okay. Because repetition is key. So we're going to do things very differently inside this space. And logic has no place in decision making, like I've mentioned. And so before you go on to say that I'm asking you to be delusional, I am not. Okay. I would actually remind you of the real delusion. And to me, delusion is working a job that you hate, staying in a relationship you know isn't aligned, waiting for something outside of you to go first, and telling yourself that you're happy. That's delusion. All right. Delusion's telling yourself that you're a millionaire and doing nothing in exchange for the millions. That is also a bit of delusion there. Right. So, what I want you to do right now is access one of your higher human faculties. That's a weird word to say. That's a Bob Proctor word, right? As far as we know, the goats and the sheep in the fields are not planning out how they're going to be a millionaire, right? They're not thinking like this. We have incredible higher faculties, as Bob calls them. And one of them is our imagination. And it's our greatest creative center of this human experience because we have the ability to create anything, anything we can perceive as possible in our imagination. Keyword, perceive as possible. We can bring it into this reality, right? If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. So even if we don't know how, right? The Wright brothers didn't know how to fly an airplane, but they did it. And now look at us. Look at what we have now, right? People didn't know how to do things until they knew how to do them. So the cool thing is when we make a decision that requires something so much bigger than logic, the how shows up. And this is what I call co-creation. So I want to again ask you, if you don't know where you're going, I want you to make a decision and write it down. Ask yourself, what do I want? Okay, how do I want to feel? How do I want my life to look? How do I want my business to look? When you are a woman who makes money moves with certainty, conviction, and faith, how do you feel? That's the big question here. I'm going to put it in the chat because it is a good one to really sit with, because it's not just, if all things are possible, what do I want my life to feel like? When you are a woman who makes money moves with certainty, conviction, and faith, how do you feel? Because feeling is the secret, right? It's all vibration. Feelings are vibrations. So this is part of the integration homework that I will leave you with for sure. Kelsey said, I noticed lately that I can easily go into my imagination when I'm connected and centered, but when my nervous system is not calm, then I have a hard time connecting to my imagination. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. This is the conversation here. Because when our nervous system is triggered, right, we are not creating. We're not even thinking. Never mind dreaming. We are not even digesting. Okay, when our nervous system, when our body feels unsafe, we are seriously just surviving. We are just surviving. So I love that. Okay, so that we're going to talk about that in a little second here. So I want you to consider this. The only reason that what you want isn't your reality right now is because you're not a vibrational match to it yet. All right. But this is what we're doing here. We are becoming aware of what we want. And inside the tapping challenge, money moves, we're going to be becoming that version of ourselves. So fun, right? So there is no logic at play. Making a decision requires only one thing. You guys know what that is: desire, nothing else. So I want you to go big, but I want you to get your hopes up and I want you to know where you're going. Okay. Because once you know where you're going, then you can be convicted. Then you can be certain. And then you can have faith. So there's no way you could fuck it up. And it's all working in your favor. But without knowing where you're going, how are you going to be convicted? What are you going to be convicted in? Right? How do you know then who to be? And how do you know what moves to make? If you don't know where you're going, you don't know what action to take. And that's why it feels like you're literally getting in your car and driving around the block or throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. You don't know. So what's going to happen is this. And some of you have already experienced this and you will experience it again and again and again. The moment you declare what you want, and you write it down, right? I love to write it down in the present tense. We did this inside Manifest. I'm so grateful that this is my reality now. My life looks like this. I feel like this. I'm on top of the world, right? When you fully believe that reality is available to you, regardless of the how, you're going to be given opportunities left, right, and center to be that version of you. So it's not going to be comfortable all the time. But if you can consciously respond instead of just reacting in the same way you always have, you're going to create different results. So this is where tapping comes in. This is where tapping comes in because this is our tool. Feeling the fear, the doubt, the resistance, the contrast, the whatever, and doing it anyway is not the way forward. Okay, yes, you're going to have to move forward and you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel fear. You're going to feel all of that resistance. But just seeing it and feeling it and doing it anyway is not always the way forward. And for many of you who are newer to these concepts, newer to my tapping method, newer to manifestation, whatever it is, this is the recipe for self-sabotage. Okay, so if your heart is saying one thing, your heart is saying one thing, and your head says another, there is disharmony. There is confusion. There is distortion. So what we want to do here is bring the heart and the head together in resonance. And that's what we're doing in the tapping challenge. Okay, so we're going to close the gap by working with our nervous system. So if, for example, Kelty's comment in the comments, she said, I notice I can easily go into my imagination. Yay, love this. When I'm connected and centered, AKA grounded and her nervous system is regulated. But when my nervous system is not calm, then I have a hard time connecting with my imagination. If Kelty in that state of not calm was to say, I need to create, what am I going to do? Usually what it goes to is, how do I make money? How do I figure this out? Right? Trying to take hold of the situation and figure it out. But what I'm trying to show you here and what we'll be doing inside the challenge is that you don't need to figure out anything. The how comes through you if you can stay in that calm and regulated state with conviction, certainty, and faith, right? The how comes through. No matter how hard Kelty would try and force and figure it out, she would be exhausted, overwhelmed, burnt out. She would be like doubting herself. She would probably be in bed, right? You can't do that. It's not how it works. Okay. And trust me when I say I've been there many times, in my calendar, I was like, okay, morning, this is content creation time. And I would sit down Monday morning and I'm like, what am I going to create? Right? When I used to do that, I was living in such a stressful environment that my nervous system was just like, my body was tense. And I was like, okay, well, I have to work. I have things to do. And I need more time. And the kids need to, da, 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 like so much is going on. And I'd sit down and be like, okay, I need to create content now. And I'm like, think, what am I going to create content on? It doesn't work like that. That's not how it happens. So co-creation is an option and it's available to every single one of us at any time. However, our nervous system needs to be in a calm, collected, grounded state. Okay. So we know that when our nervous system's job is to keep us safe. So when our body feels unsafe, stressed, right, the signal is sent to the brain, the amygdala, to tell the body to fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Basically, get back to safety. However, I see it as like the brain doesn't get all the information because the amygdala is so underdeveloped that it doesn't understand or detect what caused the fear or doubt or worry or whatever in the first place. It just reacts. And so, regardless of whether we are just like in a stressful environment or we are being chased by a tiger, it reacts the same. Okay. This is another very relevant example. I talk about this all the time. That part of your brain doesn't realize that your body's just hungry, right? The body being hungry sends that signal to the brain in the same way as if you were being chased by a tiger. If you didn't eat breakfast and your body doesn't feel hungry, but you haven't actually fueled your body, there is a chance that your body believes it is unsafe, that same trigger will be triggered. The sympathetic nervous system will be engaged, and you will not be in that creative, grounded, regulated state. Okay, I'm sharing this because this was completely my experience. I used to skip breakfast and I used to go straight into work. I'd do a workout and then I'd go straight into work and I'd tell myself, I need to get things done. I have so much to do. I need to focus. I need to get things done. And I would like power through it. And then by 11:30 in the morning, 12, I would be like physically vibrating because my body was hungry. Even though my stomach didn't feel hungry, my body was hungry. Right. And I was in such a state of rush and panic that what do you think the ideas I was having looked like? Right. What do you like? I was in a state of survival and I didn't even realize it. And what fixed it was actually body slowing down, tapping, regulating my nervous system, connecting in with where am I going, and asking myself, who do I need to be? How would she show up in this situation? What would her home life look like? How would her time with her kids be? Where would her kids be? And I took action towards that and I changed my circumstances without the how, before the money came. And I made moves that version of me used to believe were impossible. I got my own house. I put the kids in a community school, right? I took action in a new way. And as a result, my business grew. As a result, the money came. As a result, everything showed up for me in the perfect timing because I moved differently. Okay. So our work is to gently expand our perceptions of what's possible. And that's what we're doing here, because we will only ever experience what we believe is possible for ourselves. What happened? Now it's been, goodness, like 7 years. Can you guys believe I've been in Costa Rica almost 7 years? 7 years ago, I used to, maybe it was probably more like 8 years ago. I used to believe that I was living in government housing and I was like a kind of a victim to my circumstances in some ways. Even though I wouldn't admit it at that time, like I was still reacting to my current circumstances and the options that I felt like I had at that time. And I was allowing them to dictate my moves, to control the decisions that I was making. The money that was in the bank, I was looking at that and then making a decision from there. And what was happening, I was staying in that same pattern. It's not until we know differently that we do differently. Okay, so what happened is something shifted. I was presented with a business opportunity that expanded my perceptions. I saw other women winning. I saw other women traveling with their kids, making money while they slept, making thousands and thousands of dollars in reoccurring revenue every month. And that expanded my perception of what I believed was possible for me. And that is why my business grew back then. That is why I decided to go to Costa Rica. That's why I decided to say I am done with the situation because I saw what was possible. So we will always ever only experience what we believe is possible for ourselves. And our outside world can help us do that. Right. And that's what we're doing here as well, is I'm showing you through stories and through information, mostly through my own lived experiences, what's actually possible for you. Right. So another example is there's a lot of incredible people on this planet that are like breaking records left, right, and center, right? Like deep free diving records. And the craziest part is that humans believe it's not possible. And then someone proves it to be possible. And all of a sudden, someone else believes it's possible and does it too. Right? It's like anything. It can be with running, it can be like the next electric vehicle or whatever. If the moment that we see it as possible, it's done. So that's why I'm getting you to write down, what do I want? and I write it down in the present tense, and I want you to perceive it as possible. I want you to start looking around for proof. And every time you see someone living part of that life, or a person that has something that you want, you're going to say, that's for me. That's for me. They're proof. They're proof that I can do it too. Yeah. Freediving's nuts. They're proof that I can do it too. Okay. So that's the secret here. And those of you going through Manifest right now, you know this. You must be excited and so what's the word I'm looking for? You must believe that it's possible for you. What you're writing down, you must see, even though the how, you don't know the how, right? Your job is to not know the how. But logic has no place in decision making, right? But our conscious mind, our thinking mind, must still be on board. Because in order for the subconscious mind to accept a new idea, the conscious mind has to accept it first. If the gap's too big, the conscious mind can't fathom it. There's a separation, there's a gap. You will continue to tell yourself one day. And that's what so many of us do, right? So if the gap is too big on that initial destination, I want you to choose a destination that's on the path of. Okay. Something that the mind can get behind, because you must be excited about it. You want to feel as if it's already your reality. So like I mentioned, that question I asked you guys, I'm going to scroll up here. When you are a woman who makes money moves with certainty, conviction, and faith, how do you feel? How do you feel? The first thing that came to mind for me was empowered. I feel powerful. I feel powerful. When I'm making moves in certainty, conviction, and faith, I feel powerful. I also feel relief, knowing that I can't fuck it up. It's all happening for me in my favor. I'm the center of my universe. God's got my back, right? How do you guys feel? How do you feel when you are in that power? I am a woman making moves towards that life that I'm here to live. Another one is grateful, right? Feel grateful. So all of the feelings that you will feel when it's done. So when you are her. And this is what we're going to be doing over the 30 days. Okay, inside Money Moves. There's going to be 4 different tapping activations, and you're going to practice one per week. So some of you have been in previous tapping challenges with me. If you want to put a couple words in the chat, why someone maybe here live with us or on the replay who hasn't been in a tapping challenge before, why they should join us, please do. I'd love to hear. If anyone wants to unmute and share your experience, I would also love to hear. Does anyone feel like sharing it all? Okay, Kelty's going to share. Yay! So glad you're here.
One of the first things I wanted to say about the tapping challenge was I love the format of it. And for somebody who's neurodivergent, ADHD, and the way my brain works, the format of hopefully it's going to be the same. It's not on video, it's a recording. And so you can go to the recording any time of day. You can do it in the morning. You can do it at night. There's been times where I've done it morning and night, which has been very beneficial for me. And so I just absolutely love the format of it first and foremost. I love tapping, and for me, all of the tapping challenges I've been with Jocelyn have been really incredible, and I came out the other side feeling so empowered and so confident and so powerful in myself and where I'm going and what I'm doing. And I'm not sure if all of you know, but when I first joined the first tapping challenge that I joined, I actually wrote 3 books on the other side of it, and they're coming close to being published now. And the latest one, tapping challenge that we got into, I started a podcast after it, despite having a severe traumatic brain injury. And so it really gave me the confidence and the know-how and the just the power to step into that version of me that I'd always wanted to become. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Yay, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing there, Kelty, because like this one is, yes, this is the same format, but our focus is a little bit different, right? The first one she was talking about was the abundance challenge. So that was all about focusing on the abundance that is all around us. Like we live in such an abundant universe. So of course, Kelty writes 3 books, right? She's like, I am abundant. I'm going to stop waiting to claim this identity of author and I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it anyway. And that became her brand after that, right? And then the second challenge she's talking about is the tap into her challenge, which was identity based. So it was all about becoming or being, because becoming keeps it in the future, being that version of ourselves now. And that was also really, really powerful. And then, of course, she starts a podcast based around her brand of Do It Anyway. So beautiful. Thank you, Kelty. So this one is centered around money moves. It's around the being the version of us who moves with conviction, certainty, and faith towards the life she knows she's here for. So action is an integral piece of manifestation. Integral. However, it's not just what we're doing, it's who we believe we are. It's who we believe we are and how we are actually doing it. So that's what we're going to be doing. So there's going to be 4 different activations. You're going to practice one per week. So one activation for an entire week before we move on to the next one. So the reason for this is that repetition is key. The thought patterns that are currently on repeat in your head didn't happen overnight. And so those neural pathways were passed on to you, right? Collected along the way. And they originated as a thought, right? They were a thought over and over and over and over again. And they became a belief. Because once the conscious mind accepts something as truth, the subconscious mind has no option other than to say yes. So, for example, as a child, if we were taught, you know, be quiet, that doesn't matter, right? That doesn't make any sense. Don't say those things, whatever it is. If we're taught that you are not good enough, you're very bad at math, you're bad for doing that thing, what happens? If we're taught that, if somebody's telling that to us over and over and over, what happens? Our brain, our subconscious mind accepts it as truth and it becomes who we are. This is big. It becomes who we are. And it doesn't just become who we are, it becomes the world that we live in because our subconscious mind can be seen as like the heart of the mind, right? It is the center of our beliefs. And the way that we see the world is completely dependent upon what's in our subconscious mind. If we grew up around parents who believed the world's a dangerous place, you can't travel, you're going to get killed out there, right? If we were growing up around our parents that had money beliefs that didn't serve them, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. You know, you got to work real hard for your money. Go to school to go to school to go to school to get a good job, get a good retirement. If that was the belief that was ingrained in your subconscious, what's your pattern right now? What is your perception? Okay, if you were told that wealthy people are scam artists, it's no surprise that you see someone drive by in a really nice car and you're like, what a bad person. Don't they know there's hungry people on the streets, right? All the money in the world, all these millionaires could solve world hunger, right? Like those are programs. So, what we're going to do is we're actually going to reprogram the subconscious because it happens in the same way. We're going to reprogram it through the repetition of a new idea. So we're not just going to go from where we are now to like, am that version of me, right? I am whatever, successful. I am speaking on stages. I am writing books. I am, a millionaire. I am whatever. That's a pretty big stretch. For some of you, maybe you could do that. But from my experience of working with many, many women over the past decade in a business perspective, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because those patterns run deep. Okay. And so we are going to start with regulating our nervous system. Because, like I said before, when your body believes it's in danger, we're not thinking, never mind dreaming, we aren't even digesting, we're surviving. And so nothing but surviving happens when we are in survival mode. We react, we blow up sometimes, right? So creation and co-creation happens only when our body feels safe. So that's the first week because we're going to regulate, we're going to ground. And for some of you, that is already a daily practice. You already tap every day. And that's beautiful. But remember, repetition is key. So week 1, it's beautiful. It's grounding. It's great. You feel really, really good. Feel really centered and peaceful. After that, week 2, we're going to begin to open up to new ideas. And those new ideas are going to be the ones that you wrote down or similar to the ones you wrote down. Because what you wrote down will transform and change and evolve as you do. Okay, as your perceptions start to shift, as you start to open up to different ideas and different potential realities, as you see, oh, Kelty's writing 3 books. Well, what if I can do that? You start to expand your perceptions of what's possible. Your desires, your destination, your dreams are going to start to transform and get bigger and more beautiful and all the things, right? So that's the second week is we're going to start to open up. We're going to open up to that reality being possible. Week 3, we start to bring it closer by expanding our perceptions even more so that we can receive and hold more, so that we become unshakable no matter what comes our way. And week 3 is usually when things start moving, things start shifting. Like I said, right? When we ask for something new, the universe will match you. God always says yes. So the truth of what we have been believing forever will show up, and we will be given many, many opportunities to break the patterns and choose again. So that usually happens around week 3. And this is why I added a VIP option, because we do have the group chat for the challenge, yes. But in VIP, we will meet once a week on Fridays to talk about what's coming up, to talk about and to like, you can bring your questions, you can bring your scenarios, and we can help you to move through it. We'll move through it together. Okay, because it's gonna the voices in our heads can feel very real. They can, right? Right? It's like, for example, if you want something and the money's not here yet, what do you need to do? You need to make a decision and the money will come. But it's really common for our mind to fight that and say, no, the money's not here yet. I can't. Right? So situations like that, we'll come back to faith. We'll come back to the truth of who you really are. Okay. And we'll talk about that in VIP. So week 4 is where the gap closes. We go from becoming to being, and we start to confirm the new reality. So this happens really fast, you guys. And this is the one, week 4 is the one that you're going to continue to utilize moving forward. Even after the challenge ends, you're going to continue to affirm and affirm and affirm, I am. This is my truth. Okay? Because the universe is always responding to us, not our needs and not our wants. It's responding to our vibrations, our signals, our true beliefs. What is actually that thought pattern that's on repeat in our heads? That's what it's responding to. And so the quicker that we can become aware of it, that's the first step, become aware of it, right? And then redirect it back onto what we do want, the quicker our desire or destination is going to be realized or manifested. All right, so over these 3 days, we're going to clean up your signal. That's what we're doing. And we're going to fully align your vibration and identity with the version of you who's living that destination, that version of you who has moved with certainty, conviction, and faith. That's who you are right now becoming. That's who you're going to be, okay, as we go through this challenge. So beautiful. So this is not just a do this thing and then after you do the work. As we move through the challenge, you're going to be given opportunities to make the money moves. You're going to be given opportunities to choose differently, and you're going to make the choices and the decisions as we go through the challenge together. Okay, this is not like I'll wait for later to like implement this information and I'll just take notes right now. It's not that. It's like as soon as you choose differently, you're going to be given opportunities to make the new moves. All you need to do is make the moves in conviction, certainty, and faith. And that's what we're doing together. Okay. Got it? All right. I can't wait to get started on Monday. Does anyone have questions about the challenge? And then let's close out the conversation today with a tapping activation, which I'm so excited for. If anyone isn't already in the challenge and wants to join, there's the link. It's $33 and the VIP option is currently $55. And on Friday at midnight, Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to double the VIP price. Okay. I want everyone to be in the challenge. However, if you want to take it up a notch or 10, join us in VIP. Okay. If you feel like you have friends that would really benefit from being in this space, invite them into the challenge. I'm going to keep it at $33. We'll keep the doors open for the first week and then we'll close it because it gets a little bit complicated with people on like different timings and things like that. Share it out. Share the prologue as well. I will send you guys the in your email. You'll receive the replay to this, as well as those of you that are already in the tapping challenge. The replay link will be right in the group chat. Share this video with everyone you know, because tapping is such an incredible tool, and let's experience it. I'm just super excited for this next challenge, and I love how you add the VIP for extra support. Yeah, I love options, and I love giving you guys the opportunity to go bigger, right? And choose yourself. All right, so let's tap, you guys. This is such a fun activation. So if you've never tapped, with I think most of you have, maybe some people on the replay have not, all you need to do is do what I do and say what I say. This is pretty different than your traditional EFT tapping, but just follow me, do what I do, say what I say, and listen to yourself, listen to your body, notice what comes up for you, and notice anything that comes through as you're saying the things that I'm saying. Okay, so some of the things I say, your body might react to it, and that, we all know, right, is gold. Okay, that reaction is actually opportunity for you to ask yourself, why is this making me feel this way? Why am I triggered by this sentence? Or what in me is ready to heal or release? Right? Beautiful. Alrighty. So before we get into it, I want to ask you, how excited do you feel about your destination right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, okay, how excited do you feel about where you're going, in other words? On a scale of 1 to 10, let me know in the chat. And some of you might be like 10. Okay, but I want you to be really honest. Like, just feel your body right in this moment without thinking of anything else. How do I feel right now about that destination? You guys are all 10. Of course you are. Okay, but impatient. All right, that's good information. That's good information, because impatience, although I know what you mean, impatience can often show us where we lack faith, because it's not in our time. And I'm not going into like religion here, but I'm saying this because this morning there was no coincidences here. I picked up my lip chap that I found in my random drawer, and on the lip chap it says, "It's not in your time, it's in his time." And I was like, fuck you, lip chap. Where did you even come from? Okay, so it's not in your time. Yeah, exactly. You need to read my book, The Sun Will Rise When It Rises. Yes. I love that we have these resources. Okay, so feeling into how are we feeling right in this moment? Scale of 1 to 10. And let's try it out. Yeah, amazing. Okay, so take a deep breath in. Find a comfortable seat. If you're in a safe place to do so, I would love you to close your eyes just for a moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale nice and slow through your mouth. Just do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. Okay, we're going to start by tapping right on the top of the head. Repeating after me. Today, I have decided that I am done waiting. I am done waiting to become someone that I have been believing I am not. Because I know the truth now. I get to choose. I get to choose who I am. I get to choose what happens next. And regardless of what I've been through, and regardless of where I am right now, I'm choosing faith. I'm choosing conviction. And I'm choosing certainty. Because I know that there's no way I could possibly fuck it up. I am the center of my universe. God always says yes to my ask. I always get what I ask for. And whatever comes my way today, I know that I can hold it. Because I'm exactly where I'm meant to be at all times. And the universe only gives me what I can handle. But the truth is this: I get to choose what I can handle. And when my old tendencies of or habits of reacting to life or believing that it's happening to me show up, I'm going to pause. And I'm going to take a breath. And I'm going to remember the truth that I am an infinite creative being. Here to do good in the world. I'm done waiting. I'm done pretending. I'm done subscribing. And I'm going to go into my day now in this new way, making the moves that I'm here to make in faith, knowing that there's no way I could fuck it up. The timing is impeccable. God's got my back. And it's all unfolding perfectly for me. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bring one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. Okay. Now noticing how you're feeling. Has anything shifted in your body? If you want to share, you're welcome to unmute or put it in the chat. If you chose a number before, what's your number now? Has it changed? More positive. On a scale of 1 to 10, now 25. Feel more connected to myself, motivated. Yes. Okay. It's all vibration, you guys. And by doing this and telling yourself this new story every single day by universal law, you will begin sending out different signals. Natalie says she's amazing. Yay. You will begin sending out different signals. You will begin receiving different information because we are channels. We are connected to that infinite source creative energy that created everything that is. That's where our ideas come from, right? It doesn't come from the human construct or the human mind. We do that all the time. We realize things that, holy shit, where'd that come from? I didn't learn that before. Sometimes I even have to look up words that I receive. What is a conduit, right? It comes to us. It comes through us. So you're going to continue to receive different information, guidance, opportunities, and of course, you're going to receive more abundance and money the more you elevate your vibration. Okay. So, who's in for the challenge? Who's in for the tapping challenge? Nicole's in, Kelty's in, Shayla's in, Natalie's in, everybody's in. Amazing. Okay. The link to join us, if you're not yet in, it will be in your email, and we'd love to have you join us. And it's going to be incredible. We start Monday morning. Okay, Monday the 18th will be the first tapping activation. Will be in the group chat. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you feel incredible and go and make some money moves already this morning. Go and join the challenge if you haven't already. And I can't wait to see you guys inside. Go have a beautiful day. Thank you guys. Bye.